Yo, it's your boy Russ, and I'm in the building with this young king right here, man. Lee Juetso, man. Salute to this young king right here. He's officially the Black Ranger off of Unworthy Production. Y'all need to check that out. They got over 1 million views. Son is official right here, man. Yo, talk to me, man. What's good with you, Lee? What's
All is
poppin'?
well. All is well. We've been training really hard, selling these codes, making these kimonos, and luckily the people are liking the kimonos. I'm gonna keep trying to get them out to the people.
Word up. I like that. I like that. Now, yo, did you grow up watching You look pretty young, man. Yo, how old are you, man?
I'm 21.
21. So, did you grow up watching the Power Rangers? And if so, which set did you grow up watching?
I had Power Rangers peripherally. So the first one I remember was like Dino Thunder, and then I really got into SPD, and I really got into Jungle Fury. Jungle Fury was my favorite because in Jungle Fury they went into like the psychology of each ranger, and there was a part where they had like one mentor, and then their mentor ended up getting jacked up. So after he got jacked up, they got these new mentors and they got these new Zords and stuff, and they had to like go inside of themselves and face their internal fears in order to become stronger. And I like really liked that when I was watching them when I was young.
Okay,
But
okay.
like the
So,
OG Power Rangers, never seen it ever.
oh,
Even like to
oh
this day,
come
like I've never.
on. You never
Nah,
watched the vintage, like the
I don't.
original
And
Power Rangers, man?
and anytime anybody be making references about it, I just
Mhm.
smile and wave. But I don't know nothing about it at all.
Yo, word up. All right, yo. For those of you that haven't seen the Unworthy Power Rangers, I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown. All right, yo. The original Power Ranger, I think it was the Red Ranger and the Dragon Ranger, right? The White Dragon joint. Like, yo, they was fighting crime and all that, putting mad work in, know what I mean? And the white dragon, he ended up, you know what I mean, becoming evil or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So the Red Ranger, he had a problem with that. So he ended up beating up the white dragon ranger, put him at his end, and then he ended up bodying Zordon. After he bodied Zordon, he became the arbiter. Like his whole red suit syncs up, all gray, look like some robotic type joint, and he started going to different multiverses, bodying all rangers that want to give up their power coin, right? So this young man right here, he plays the Black Ranger from Earth 2029 or whatever. But yo, he caught smoke with the arbitrator. He tried to take his power coin too. Y'all need to check that out, man. That episode was fire. Straight up, yo, you did a great job with the fighting choreography and all that. So now watching your style of fighting or whatever, right? Yo, like, did you grow up doing like martial arts and all that? And if so, what type? What type of martial arts you did?
Yes, my father's a martial artist. He practiced an art called Kupigane and Gumi, which is like an African hybrid system. So I grew up
Oh,
doing that, which is more so based on like self defense and kicks and joint locks and stuff. And then when I moved to Philadelphia, I got exposed to capoeira and kung fu. And so
oh,
I've been spending a
capoeira.
lot of
Okay.
time. Exactly. And capoeira is like a
That's
really
like the
fun art.
Brazilian joint, you know what I mean? Where they
Yeah, I
dancing and
started.
doing like acrobatic kicks and stuff like that and flips. Rolled
Yeah,
out.
I got into it because there's a show called Fight Science, and it had Lateef Crowder on, and they were trying to figure out like who had the hardest kick. And Lateef Crowder came, he did the Mea Lua, which you swing up into the air on one hand, and you kick when you like upside down in the air. It's like Eddie Gordo type move, and that was like the hardest kick in the world. So after I saw that, I just started doing it over and over and over again. And eventually, one of my birthdays, I went down to a capoeira school and played with them, and they showed me capoeira. And then as I started traveling the country, meeting as many martial artists as I could, anytime that I had access to capoeira, I'd go there and learn some things. And it's a really deep culture, and there's a lot of really cool connections that a lot of capoeiristas get to have. And the
Word
moveset
up.
is insane. It's a constant challenge that you get to partake in.
Now, did you learn capoeira in Brazil or in Philly?
I was exposed to it first in Philadelphia, and then I bought a book and I started teaching myself the moves from the book. And then when I traveled, anytime that I find people that knew capoeira, I'd ask them questions.
Word up, word up. Now, have you been to Brazil before? And do you speak Portuguese?
I don't I've never been to Brazil. I don't speak Portuguese. I speak Spanish. There's a dude named Zumbi Alejandro, and Zumbi is he was based in Colombia for a long time. So like when I could talk to him, because his style is really crazy, he can do like a lot of crazy flips and stuff. I'd use my
Okay.
Spanish in order to like talk to him and get him.
Oh, so you speak fluent Spanish?
Yes.
Word out. That's dope. That's dope. I like that. Um, yo. So what? Like, because you mentioned that you did a lot of traveling. So what countries did you travel to? And yo, and break down the dishes you ate out there. Because I'm a foodie, man. I love food. As you can see, I'm a thick brother. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I get it in. You know what I mean? And yo, talk to me, man. Let me know what's good. Give me the breakdown.
Yeah, so I've been vegan my entire life, so it's put a damper on the amount of food I've been able to experience. But I've been able to see a lot of really cool stuff. So like,
Okay.
I left the country for the first time going to Spain, and out in Spain we learned how to make paella, which is a dish where you make this soup with like crabs and lobster and peppers and stuff, and then you cook rice inside of the soup. So then like when the rice is cooked, the rice tastes like meat, and then you like scoop it out and you got what you want. Then we
Okay.
had we had churros out there in Spain. There were a lot of fish difference. They have a thing called jamon out there. When you go out in Spain, there's a whole bunch of just legs of cows all over the place, or legs of
Word.
pigs. And they'll take the pig leg and they'll just be walking around. You're like, what do you use that for? When you go in their house, there'll just be this leg on a wooden post. And they take a knife and they carve off pieces of the leg. And because
That's dope.
because of what they feed the pig, they're so oily that it's just
Hmm.
juicy when they like bite into it. And every part of the leg has like a different texture and stuff. So that's what they got out in Spain. In Guatemala, there was a lot of fruit, so I ate a lot of fruit. Everybody got machetes out there, so like they had a lot of. I love coconuts, I love avocados, I love mangoes. So I was in
Hmm.
heaven when I was in Guatemala. There's nothing but food all over.
Oh,
We also had like tortillas and stuff. And in the Bahamas, there's a thing people call conch fritters, and the conch is like the seashell where you blow into it and it makes a sound. And the fritters,
hmm.
they take the inside of the because my family's from the Bahamas, and so the conch, the fritters, they take the meat from the inside of the conch, they scoop it out, and then they fry it, and then you have like this little fried dough ball of conch, and a lot of people eat that in the Bahamas. They also have like these giant lobster in the Bahamas, and they have a lot of fish, specifically red snapper is like the staple
Okay,
fish.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're Bahamian, so you're an islander. Word up.
Yep.
Word up. A lot of Haitian cats be out there too. Know what I mean?
Indeed, my grandfather is Haitian for that exact reason because he
Oh,
moved to
so
the
you
Bahamas.
was Zoe. Like
We
me. Word out.
What's on Haitian? I'm actually learning Mapapon Creole because I've been around a lot of Haitians, so they've been like teaching me
Word
language.
out. Word
It's a
up, man. You,
cool.
you, you can hit me up, man. I can teach you, man. I,
I
sp-
appreciate
I,
you.
I speak fluent Creole, know what I mean? Yeah. Part of my alarm going off in the school or
No
whatever.
way.
Know what I mean?
No way.
But yeah, man. So yo, hold on real quick.
Well, while Rush is correcting that situation, do you do any jujitsu?
The first art that I went to a school for was jujitsu because my
Okay.
dad wanted me to stop kicking people. And he put me in jujitsu and he was like, you're going to learn how to win a fight without hitting people. And for the
Yeah,
first 4 months, I hated it because
yeah,
I'd hated jujitsu so much when I was little that I would go off to the side where the punching bags were. And after class, I would just kick and punch the mess out of the bags. And then over
really.
time, I was able to start doing like competitions and stuff. But because I didn't understand the mechanics of moves and I didn't understand how to ask for help, my entire strategy for jiu-jitsu was based on using my strength and speed to get behind people and rear naked choke them. Just get out of whatever they did and then do a rear naked choke. But now, having experienced a lot of arts, I do want to take some time to explore jiu-jitsu. And if I travel a lot, but now that I'll be stopping traveling as much, I definitely do want to dedicate some time to getting into jiu-jitsu because understanding how to fight on the ground is really important. And also how to the sensitivity, the full body sensitivity that jiu-jitsu gives you, I think is
Yeah,
very important. However, in training jiu-jitsu, it's important to remember that if you choose to practice it for combat, the goal should not be to accomplish a move. It should be to take what you have and use that in order to debilitate the opponent as a martial
Right.
art.
So let me ask you this real quick. So you're relatively young, but you seem to have an extensive background in martial arts. Let me ask you this. So in the 1980s, which is a very long time compared to when you were born. So I was born in '84, right? Karate was very popular in the '80s and early '90s. What do you think about the practicality of karate versus like let's say kung fu or any other martial art?
A martial art is only as practical as the practitioner, and the practitioner is only as practical as their training. So the reason that karate fighters beat a lot of people, especially Shotokan karate fighters, is because their training caused them to gain a lot of experience in fighting, and their training also made them very physically resilient. So they were able to do a lot of damage and take in a lot of damage. Now, the unfortunate thing about that is a lot of people ended up with very short careers. A lot of people end up injured and arthritic because of the training that they were doing. Kung Fu has a very good balance of hard and soft training. And so you learn how to like make your hands hard and stuff, but you also learn how to use uh, analgesics and dit da jiao in order to heal yourself, and stretching and breathing techniques. And unfortunately, a lot of that is left out of karate. Now, like when you're in early 1900s Japan and your family is depending on you to come back from war, you don't necessarily need to live very long. But once you're an accountant and you done graduated college and you're trying to live a healthy life, understanding how to heal yourself in the midst of your training is very important.
Interesting. So let me ask you this. It seems like just from listening to you for the very short time I'm listening to you, you don't believe a certain style is superior just based off that last, I mean, like not style, but a certain martial art is superior. You just say, listen, if you're able to use it, then it should be good on the battlefield. But let me ask you this: what is your most favorite martial art? If you could just say one martial art is just period point blank your favorite.
Kung Fu is the best martial art because it has all the martial arts in it. If you like elbows, you got Bagua, you got Southern Fish, you got Northern Fish. Like the beautiful thing about Kung Fu is that Kung Fu is everything. Like Kung Fu has everything in it. Whereas other arts, a lot of things are derived because Kung Fu is so old. Most other arts can have movements that can be traced back to Kung Fu, or movements that have come out of the collective consciousness that you see in Kung Fu. So, for example, a lot of the break masters like that came up in the 80s and stuff were inspired by Kung Fu movies. And you can see like coffee grinders and windmills and stuff in like old Kung Fu movies and stuff. And that's also can be found in capoeira. So even if you, as a capoeirista, see someone doing like dog style Kung Fu, or you see them doing different like Northern or Wushu stuff, there are similarities in the movements. And although the philosophy behind the movements is differently, the physical movements are the same, which is why I love Kung Fu. There's so much stuff in there that anything you could possibly want to do is in there. If you like karate, you can do hanga, or you can do starts with a B. I'm forgetting. Baji. There we are. You can do Baji Chuan if you like the more like hard movements. And if you like more soft movements, there's Northern Shaolin and Mantis and Snake and freaking. There's all of the things. So any way that you want to move, you can move with Kung Fu, which is why I love it so much.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. I don't know, Brush, are you there? I don't want to take over your show, bro, but I guess he's getting things together. So let me ask you this: what are your opinions on belt systems?
Different people do different arts for different reasons. So if you care about martial arts for your own development, belts don't really matter. However, if you care about martial arts for your development as a brand, or if you need to visual reminders in order to stay motivated, then belts are very important. So I think for young children, belts are very good. I think when people are pushing toward a certification, belts are really good. I think when you want to see how far you've come within a curriculum, belts are really good because they're place markers for how much time you've put in and what you've attained, or at least they're supposed to be. However, when you are developing as a martial artist, belts don't matter at all. Your experience matters, and what you can do with your experience matters. And unfortunately, the only way to test that is by either sparring or by flowing with fluency. And if you can do those things with relative certainty, then you know what position you're at in whatever art you seek to partake
in. Okay. What is, and I hate to sound like an interviewer at this point, but what is, I'm just trying to wait for Rush to get back. What is your favorite martial art movie? Let me ask you this. Well, before I ask you that, before you answer that, What do you think? Okay, I would think yours would be Ip Man, right? But am I wrong?
Yes.
I'm wrong about Ip Man.
Yes.
Wow.
Definitely.
Okay.
Ip Man's not even my favorite Ip Man movie.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, Ip Man, because Ip Man's cool. Like Ip Man is like top 10 martial arts movies ever. However, the
Yeah.
things that they did in Ip Man, they changed history. And if you're gonna change history for a movie, the story that Ip Man is the way that you should change history for a movie if that's what you're going to do.
Okay.
But there's a movie called The Grand Master, and The Grand Master is a historical drama featuring the character of Ip Man and the character of this other woman who named Gonger. And Ip Man is the Wing Chun master, and he's the hope of the South. Because the Grand Master isn't Ip Man. The Grand Master is like this dude that does like Baji, I think, or Bagua. And so the Grand Master is looking for someone to replace him. The Grandmaster wants Ip Man to replace him. However, don't nobody like Ip Man because he's better than everybody. So the
Yeah.
dude that's under the Grandmaster wants to take the Grandmaster's place, but homie's hands is too hot. Like this man beat up everybody in a kung fu school. And so because of that, Ip Man has to maintain his position respectfully while recognizing that the Grandmaster's student is a problem. And as the Grandmaster's student has a problem, his daughter, who's actually the better martial artist, wants to be the Grandmaster, but his daughter can't be the Grandmaster because she's a woman. And his daughter also is stuck because she really loves martial arts, but her father wants her to like marry a doctor and stuff. So there's this whole beautiful dynamic at play that shows like the reality of being a martial artist in the modern world outside of the context of like Qing era China, where you can't just run around and beat people up. You got bills and people got guns, and so if you can't provide for yourself and your family, you're screwed.
Okay. Uh, so I used to do. I hate to say used to, but I used to do a little bit of BJJ. I was under a Gracie lineage in terms of my school. But if anybody's out there that's listening, if you could give them advice, what foods and beverages should you consume when you partake in martial arts? I mean, you're very higher level than me. I'm way older, but I would like to know. Like, well, I would like to know and let everybody know who's listening what foods and beverages to take in.
Pork is the devil. Fruit juice is great, only if it's real. Like
You
just
said pork is the
boost
devil.
yeah, pork is the devil. Stay away from pork. Chicken and rice is cool. Fish is cool, specifically salmon. Uh, and if you're vegan, make sure that you're taking in a lot of protein via unprocessed protein. So stay away from like fake meat. Stay on like beans and squash. And if you are vegan, you got to look up what supplements you need, like B12 and magnesium and zinc and stuff, because it's hard to get that on a vegan diet, especially if you like things that taste good. If you don't like vegetables and you try and be a vegan, your life is going to suck. So you better buy you a blender or a juicer and mix in your vegetables with the fruit that tastes good. Otherwise, you're going to have a trash existence.
Okay, and I heard you earlier say that you were a vegan, so you've never consumed any meat product.
Every time I've consumed meat, my body has attacked me violently. So I stopped actively trying to when I was like 6 because I got tired of throwing up and breaking out all the time.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I love bacon, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. But hey, so let me ask you this. What do you think of Joe Rogan?
I love Joe Rogan.
I've been listening to Joe Rogan probably longer than you've been alive, but yeah, all right. So Joe Rogan, what do you love about Joe Rogan?
I love that although he has all of the so I like information, and there was a period in life where I had maxed out on a lot of information because my family is Afrocentric and I was raised Afrocentric.
Yeah.
And reading the autobiography of Malcolm X turned me into a militant Afrocentrist. And then I studied The Breakfast Club and listened to everything that Charlemagne put out and listened to all the black comedians. And I got all of the information that I could find. And then one day I was watching a clip of Jamie Foxx, the Foxhole Show, and that recommended Jamie Foxx talking on the Joe Rogan show. And when I got to the Joe Rogan show, because I felt that I had run out of information, I now have access to all the things that white people have been doing this whole time that I never knew about. This
Yeah.
man, Joe Rogan. And the craziest thing about Joe Rogan and the people he associates with is they're all ridiculously financially stable.
Yeah.
And yet they're not bored in life because they choose to challenge themselves and they choose to keep themselves grounded within the reality that they've decided to make. So he hunts and he trains and he studies martial arts and he actually enjoys the pursuit not only of martial arts but also the art of comedy. And one, because of his access to a larger audience of people by virtue of the way that he presents himself, but also by virtue of the way that he crafted his public image. Joe Rogan is able to ask any expert of anything, any question he wants with complete independence because he's not tied to any organization that can dictate what he says. Whereas, unfortunately, if Breakfast Club does something that iHeart don't like, iHeart gonna come after them. If Nick Cannon do something that ABC don't like, it's over for him. And if Zendaya do something that Disney don't like, it's over for her. So, like, Joe Rogan having a free platform where he has the ability to get the information of anybody from anywhere ever is amazing. And they tell you a lot of stuff. Without him, I wouldn't know about Jordan Peterson or Joey Diaz or
Eddie Bravo,
TJ English,
Brendan
John
Schwab, Duncan
Donovan.
Trussell,
Yes.
Yeah. I've been listening to Joe Rogan for quite some time, and I want to ask you this: you don't drink, you don't do anything that will pollute your body. I mean, obviously, if you're a vegan, you don't do anything else, right?
Nope. I've had mushrooms and I've had alcohol.
Which
I prefer the mushrooms to the alcohol.
Which strand of mushrooms?
Golden Teacher.
Golden Teachers. Okay. All right. Yeah. How many grams did you do?
4.
Okay. Not quite a heroic dose, but it's up there. 4 is a lot. Yeah.
That it was. It was jacked up because I have a high tolerance to substances. So, like, I've been around, like, when people are around me, they smoke a lot, and I don't catch like contacts or anything.
Yeah.
And when I've like when I've been gifted drink, because like as a sign of good faith, you don't turn down certain people. And so like I was given many drinks, and I had no positive benefits whatsoever. About 3 hours or 4 hours later, it was like a ball of poison was just sitting in my chest and was writhing in pain for around 2 hours before I finally fell asleep. That sucked. But yeah, generally there's no positive benefits with substances to me. But with that was a different experience indeed. And,
so what did you experience? Did you what did you experience? Like, all right, let me ask you a question. In terms of science, math, extraterrestrial beings, what did you see on shrooms?
I meditate a lot. So I experience, and because I meditate, I learned like the Wim Hof method and stuff. And from meditating, you can have hallucinatory experiences through like there's a thing called pranayama yoga, which is like a breathing technique, which is similar to what Wim Hof does. And through that, I've had like cool experiences where like the characters that I've written, I could see them and I could like direct them in my brain and have them like say words in their voices and stuff. Or like I've been to different places and seen different things purely off of just doing the breathing technique. So when I took the mushroom, I had the visual hallucinations of like the tessellations and stuff at first, and then over time, when I meditated, it was like I was able to go to more places, and using the same movement of the breathing technique, I was able to decide like where to go and be able to traverse those places that I went. But yeah, it was mostly a visual thing of being able to see what I was thinking and having the ability to guide my thoughts. I was able to ride those waves into different realms and see stuff in them.
I have my brother. He's also a martial artist. He actually is a practitioner, unlike me. But he's on the other line. Do you want to? Would you mind speaking to him or about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Petey, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. We got this. We have his.
What's up, Rush? How you been, bro?
Now, Rush is he's fixing some technical issues right now.
Okay.
Yeah, our guest right here is Lee. He's
what's up, Lee? What's up, Lee?
Greetings.
Os. Nice to meet you.
Blessings.
Blessing.
So PD Lee is a kung fu practitioner. He also does capoeira. And so me
Oh
and Mark
yeah.
are talking about martial arts. You guys are the experts, not me. So if you guys want to have at it, please do.
Oh yeah, no problem. How long you been studying?
10 years.
10 years. That's awesome, man. I've been studying a little over 20 years, 10 years myself. I'm currently the last teacher I had was Jeet Kune Do.
Yo, I'm back, y'all. My bad for the mishap, man.
Yo, yo, what up, Rush? How you been, bro?
Yo, been good, man, out here, you know what I mean, grinding or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I feel you. Same here.
Go
Word
ahead,
up,
But
Lee.
word up.
yeah, my bad, Lee. But back to you, man. Yeah, just been practicing over and studying over 10 years myself. Last teacher I had was in Jeet Kune Do. Um, my first sensei was in it was what is it Ishinru Karate, and then after that got into Taekwondo, then got into Wing Chun, got into grappling, and then basically from there just been trying to like combine them all. My main teacher that I had majority of the time, he came up with his own style, which is Hawaiian Kwang Fudo, and so yeah, that's the one I've been like adding to and building ever since.
This is good.
Yes.
Yes,
So
being able to take what is useful and absorb it, and then disregard what is useless, makes the path of learning to express yourself physically far more rewarding.
absolutely. And then the awakening of the journey has been the true enemy is not the person that's in front of you, but it's the person that you see in the mirror.
Yes. What facet of yourself do you feel that you've conquered recently?
I'm gonna say the emotional part. See, there's a difference between reaction and responding. Learn how to respond more than react. You know what I'm saying? Reaction is only needed when you're in danger. Responding is more so when you actually are observing and you're looking at the situation and you have a holistic understanding of the situation as opposed to just a left brain understanding of the situation.
I would agree. My dad always told me the first rule of martial arts is don't be there. But as I've been traveling, I've learned that not being there requires a different level of thinking and a different level of analysis and a different level of thinking on your feet, because sometimes you'll be in an Amtrak station in the middle of Charlotte at 11 o'clock at night and pass out and wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and now you got to figure out a way to get up out that situation.
Exactly. 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 So yeah, so no, that's what would you say is your biggest I would say achievement or awareness of self and your journey?
Learning that I am not responsible for the well-being, for the complete well-being of those who I choose to associate with. I taken on the responsibility of leading people for a very long time, and I take on the feeling, the role of the responsible one most of the time, even though I'm generally like the youngest out of everybody that I'm around. And what I've had to accept is that what happens in the lives of people is because of a lot of factors that I can't always control. And even if I understand how to manipulate certain aspects of perception or reality so that things can happen, very rarely will I have all of the context of someone's being in order to shift the way that things work out for them. And then sometimes shifting the way that things work out, although it may seem good in the short term or be validating as proof of the abilities that have been worked on, it may cause more harm than good ultimately. If not even in the life of the person I'm trying to help, but possibly in someone else's life that I don't even know. or in their child's life. And if I had just not interfered, then what was supposed to happen would have happened.
Exactly. But you always and with that, and you just definitely enlightened me on something. But also with that, the path that we're all on, regardless of the choices that we have. What's your take on? Because I have my outlook on it, but what's your take on the end of the path? Do you think it changes just because of the alterations in the decision, or do you think the end of the path is already determined and you just experience it differently based on the decisions that you make?
I think there's a lot of paths, and depending on what we do, we put ourselves on one of them. And I think sometimes we find people that align with our paths, and a lot of the decisions we make come from a fear of not wanting to be misaligned with those people that make us feel like we're connected to something. And
Ah,
it takes it's a bold choice to leave people that may be aligned with you. I don't necessarily think it's the right choice, but oftentimes, for example, I didn't want to go to college for a long time because I
right,
felt that I'm an entrepreneur and I can make some money and I don't want to be in debt. So I'm going to not go to college and travel the world and do martial arts and have fun and make art and run my business and stuff. But what I
right,
came to find was that I was in a loop where I would come back home to Philly and then draw some stuff so I could leave town again. And then when I left town, I'd be with friends, learn stuff, meet people, make cool content, come back to Philly and do the same thing. And that was the loop. And then one day I was talking to this girl and she asked me if I would like date her and stuff. And I told her that I couldn't because although I can sustain the existence that I wanted when I was 16, which was running around being a freaking Street Fighter character, I
right.
can't sustain a family. So in order to sustain a family, I'd have to reconstruct my existence in a way where they can be provided for. And
Absolutely.
that's not aligned with the realm that I placed myself in of being around a whole bunch of people that do all this crazy stuff and make all this cool content. What I found is by being in this realm for so long, everybody that's ahead of me in terms of their experiences are like these very strong-willed people who, because they've chosen to become as strong and as humanly possible and
Right,
experienced as humanly possible, they'll put aside security, not even financial security, but like physical security, because they've built themselves up to a point where anything that happens, they're competent enough to live with it and keep moving on.
right.
And if I continue on this path, that's who I'll become. Whereas if I choose the road of sustainability, I may be sacrificing the excitement of my life, but like my family will be good. And so I've
Right.
had to wrestle with which of those paths to take. And I'm leaning towards the second because I've experienced much great freedom and many cool experiences over the last couple of years, traveling and fighting and making content. But in terms of being sustainable, I've
Yeah,
not yet experienced that. So the skills will be developed and the education will be had in order to see what that side of life has looked like while still maintaining the strength with the lessons that I've been given from these years of freedom.
I think you made a good choice. You know, you staying on your purpose, and you having a great journey figuring out what lane to remain at. Now, I got another question for you. How did you end up linking up with the casting crew of Unworthy Production, and what was the process for you to get put on for that?
Many moons ago, I was but a young Instagram artist. I think I was like 14 or 13 or something. And I used to listen to the Blurred Vision podcast a lot. It was him and some other people. And so by listening to the podcast for like years, it was the first podcast I ever listened to. I got learned about like, the whole Power Rangers thing. And so when they were working with Common Ramen Studios, I like put under like, hey, if you ever want somebody to train with, I'm here because I'm in Philly and they're in New Jersey. So I was like, anybody to train with, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. And then eventually they started posting on their own page. So then I started like watching other videos and I was like, I want somebody to do that. I'm here. And then from listening to the podcast, they were talking about like Dragon Ball Z and stuff. And
Okay.
and it was when Dragon Ball Super first came out and Goku was fighting Jiren and stuff. So I drew Jordan, who's like the director of Power Rangers Unworthy, as Goku, and I called it like Blurred Coup. And then I drew Michael, who is known as Black Gay Comic Geek on Instagram, and I drew him as Jiren the Gay instead of Jiren the Gray. And I had them fighting, and they were like crazy energy beams flying all over the place and stuff. And so Jordan saw that, and he reposted it, and he DM'd me, and he was like, "Hey, this is really cool." And I was like, "Thanks, I'm glad you like the art. Ever want to train? I'm right in Philly. I'll pull up to New Jersey." And so, like a
Okay.
year, maybe 2, maybe 4 years later, he was like, "Hey, we're thinking of casting Zach. Want to audition?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I did some fighting stuff and did some dancey stuff, and luckily they liked it. So the video was shot. That the Zach video was shot in like 3 or 4 hours, maybe. Eric, who's the Red Ranger, did the choreography, and Jenna was there, and we did fight the putties, and it was cool. And yeah, that's how that happened.
Man, you did an amazing job playing that role in that scene. You played a real believable Zack from from a different multiverse. I think you did an amazing job on that. Now, I got another question for you though. When you was reading the script, right? What was going through your head? Because it's not the generic storyline of Power Rangers. You know, usually it's pretty, simplistic and not that intricate to the level where uh uh villain is going from different multiverses, bodying different ranges for the power coin. Like what was going through your head when you was reading the script on that?
Being a huge fan of Marvel and DC comics, villains going across different universes to kill people is the norm for me.
Yeah.
Right?
So hold on, whoa. You getting me started now. So are you more of a Marvel fan or a DC fan? I'm
I
Marvel.
like I like Marvel's external properties more, and I like DC's comic books more.
Okay, so who's your favorite villain from either Marvel or DC? And explain to me why.
My favorite villain from Marvel would be Doctor Doom because he don't care
I didn't
about
want to
anybody
scream on Von
at all.
Von Doom, man. Come on. Oh
Doom
snap. That's
don't
what I'm
care
talking
about
about.
nobody. This man blew up Wakanda. He killed Shuri. He went and became the Sorcerer Supreme and Iron Man. Like you can't beat Doom. He's the
And
best.
yo, don't forget he also killed Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bodied Thanos in the Secret Wars series or whatever. But now yo, hold out. So who your favorite villain on DC? Talk to me.
My favorite DC villain is Mexican Superman. Mexican Superman is easily my favorite DC character ever.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the guy that was instead of Marsha and Jonathan Kent, he was raised in the cornfield with a bunch of Mexicans, right? And he
Yes.
okay, yeah. Matter of fact, yo, I seen the animated movie today. Yo, it was pretty good. It was real
Boy,
good.
Superman started beaming the freaking ICE agents and speaking Spanish.
Yo,
Like, yeah,
yeah, I was like, okay. I was digging that. I was digging that. I thought that was dope. You know what I mean? Now, all right. Are you really into Asian culture? And if so, yo, give me the breakdown. What you know? Like
I like,
chakras, being a
yeah, I
monk
like
and all that.
yeah, I like Zen Buddhism. I like the
Okay.
aesthetic of Shinto. So like the torii gates and like the kitsune masks and like the way that in Shinto everything has a spirit. And like Hayao Miyazaki takes like the concept of Shinto, everything having a spirit, and directly puts it into his animations, which is why Ghibli movies have that like ethereal quality to them.
Right.
And so the way that like traditional uh Oriental cultures over time have influenced each other, from like the Chinese stuff influencing the Japanese stuff, which then influenced the Korean stuff. And because Korea got conquered by everything, they have all of these cultures mashed together, but they figured out a way to make it work. And in the way that like Thailand and Indonesia, being South Asia countries, have expanded on the different influences that they have in order to maintain their culture while also evolving over time. There's a lot of really cool stuff that's occurred in Asia, like culturally, and seeing one, the aesthetics of it, and then two, how they choose to portray it outside in their media has always been fascinating. My favorite movie like out of all the martial arts movies, Ong Bak 2, specifically for that reason, because it takes all the principles of all the action movies that came before it, but they also utilize the Thai culture, which you never see anywhere, and they
Right.
put the Thai culture into the movie while still paying homage to like Southern style kung fu and like the wrestling and like the even like Japanese martial arts. Like all the martial arts that you could possibly want are in there, but people are riding around on elephants and speaking Thai, and they have all of those like the clothes and stuff from Thailand, and even the dancing from Thailand. Like it's a really cool movie that shows the cultural aspect of like Thai culture, which you never get to see.
Word, word, word. That's on my bucket list. I kind of want to visit Thailand. Yeah, I mean, I want to ride the elephants like Tony Jaa. Know what I
You
mean?
should. It's cheap.
Yeah, I think I might do that in the future. Know what I mean? Now I got a question for you. Are you okay? Do you Who's a better martial artist in the films? Do you choose Tony Jaa or Jackie Chan in his prime?
Jackie Chan is the greatest because he allowed his creativity to inform all of his movement. And he used his experience to ground the creativity. So
I
all the stuff that he did was like Chinese opera stuff. And then he put the
Mhm.
Chinese opera stuff into the context of stunt fighting. And then he used his environment on top of that. And then he'd take in different pieces of different kung fu styles to like accentuate it even further. Tony Jaa used his athleticism more so in order to have crazy
Word,
athletes.
word, yo, you breaking it down real good. Yeah, yo, that's a fact. Cause what his first film I've seen from Tony is like some fighting joint where he's like his cousin took him to like he's like a farmer boy, but he took him to the city. It's called Umbuk. Yeah, like you could see his athletic skills on point on there. Like the way the acrobatic moves he was doing was unreal. Know what I mean? Yo, like his signature move is that elbow to the head. Know what I mean? I'm like, yo, yo, you already know what time it is, man. But yo, with Jackie Chan though, my favorite film of all time from Jackie is Drunken Master, the latest one, not the one from the '80s, but the one he did like in mid 2000 or early 2000. I mean the fighting style. Oh, it's just amazing on how he was moving drunk, throwing them hands, and when he fought the last dude, the dude with the kicks and all that, and he had to drink the rocket fuel or whatever he was drinking. He got like super drunk and started hitting with the. I'm like, yo, this is classic right here. Yo, now I got another question for you. Now, the original Power Ranger, right? Jason, he was the Red Ranger. Austin St. John, he just got booked for fraud. What are your thoughts on that,
Sucks for him.
man?
Hope he got some lawyer money from them royalties.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I read the news clip on that, I'm like, damn, he went down bad, you know.
It's
Um,
important as performers and business people to make sure that we divest our assets and that we don't live beyond our means so that if we need bread, we can keep it because these opportunities don't come forever. JD did like the Green Ranger. That man did an amazing job of
oh,
taking all the
yo, hold up,
opportunities
hold
that
up.
came. Yeah,
Yo, listen, I got yo. What are your thoughts on that? That the I think it's the White Dragon, the Legends of the White Dragon.
he's a
Yo, what's your
genius.
thoughts? I think he did an amazing job doing that indie joint with it. Know what I mean?
JD is a genius because he understands the power of nerd culture. Much the same way that Adam Savage understands the importance of nerd culture and what he
Mm-hmm.
means to people. And so the people that was doing Superpower Beatdown, Bat in the Sun, them the people that did the White Dragon movie. And so JD linked up with them because they'd already gone viral doing all this nerd content. So he being
Right,
like a bona
right.
fide celebrity went to internet people and made cool stuff on the internet and got it kickstarted because of that. He was able to use his star power in order to create an independent piece of content that wasn't reliant on any company. They were allowed to be completely self-sustained and self-funded and thus have that creative freedom while still benefiting the fans. More people need to do that, especially people that are a part of the foundations of inspiring an entire world of people.
Yeah, I wish you could catch a like a real deal where they give them budget money where they could put it up in the big screen. Because why? To me, looking at those clips, those indie clips with White Dragon, yo, it could compete in the cinematic lane. Like
Well,
it needs to be a big screen, man. Straight up, like that
there's
shit
so
was hot.
many yeah, there's so many theaters that exist, and there's so many followers that they have on the internet that it ain't nothing for them to do a theater tour and just like have people connect off of that. Because like the marketing for movies costs a lot, to the point that a lot of movies break even most of the time, and with very niche products, generally they're relegated to film festivals because those are the only way that people are going to be able to see it on. But if you want to see something on a big screen, especially now post COVID times, you rent you out a theater, play the movie, and it serves as a meet and greet for the people as well. I hope to, with the projects that we're creating, I hope to be involved with way more screenings. I've been able to go to a couple of them, independent movie screenings, and they're always a really cool experience to meet people that you should know.
Right, right. No, well, it's always good to network, you know what I mean? And build relationships and make moves with certain individuals that could connect you to, whatever lane you're trying to take. Whether it's somebody that could get you that budget money or get you a producer, director, writers, and all that. It's good to mingle like that. You know what I mean? So that way you could thrive on the next level, make that transition, you know? Now, I got a question for you. Another one, right? Now, if Saban were to give you budget money, right? What would you do with that money to make your own film? Like, how would you make your own Power Ranger film? Like, what I mean, like, what would be the premise of that film, and how would you get it mapped out to become like just as popular as the Unworthy joint or JD's joint?
I'd go to the unworthy people and ask them how to do it. The biggest I'm not the biggest Power Rangers fan, so I don't know anything about enough about the Power Rangers realm in order to pull that off well. They most definitely do. And so I'd go to them as the experts and ask them what should be involved with it, and also they understand production, they understand direction. So they can as a team, that's the whole function of having a team, is that when you have the resources, you come to your team to make it happen instead of trying to do it by yourself to get as much of the bread as possible. Because the bread going to come if the product is good. And the whole point of having a production team is to produce good content.
Right, right. I definitely feel you on that. And if you were to make a move like that, if somehow you fumbled onto the bag like that, I think that would be an ill move to holler at Unworthy Production to help you make a ill Power Ranger movie. Know what I mean?
Indeed, the whole point of these production companies is making the job of producing things easier. Trying to find people that are good at doing jobs, especially when action is involved, is very difficult. And trying to put things together in post production, most of the time takes longer than it did to shoot. Shooting is like 10% of the time that it takes to make something. Post production is like 60 to 80%.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. Now, have you ever had like any Haitian dish cuisines lately, or
I
you,
got
you
a friend that lives in New York, and she's amazing at cooking. She made me legume. We went on a. She's like a
legume,
contortionist.
yo, that
We
joint's
went on a
mad
rabbit hole.
good. Yeah.
Indeed, she gave me legume, banan, bouillon. I think those are the three. Yeah, those are the three: legume, bouillon, and banan. Oh, and then like the pickles. And I made them. She made this rice, and she put Scotch bonnets in the rice. And I didn't know you wasn't supposed to eat the Scotch bonnet because where like in the like my grandma raised me were like if there's food on the plate, you eat the plate. So I ate. She made this soup, and then she dropped the rice in the soup and cooked it. So the soup had like herbage and peppers in it. So I ate all the rice, and I got nothing but peppers left on my plate. And so my dumb self, I like open the pepper and look at it, and then I
Mm-hmm.
lick it. I just licked the pepper, and my whole mouth was on fire. And I run around the house 3 times because I done licked this Scotch bonnet, and she telling me to drink milk. And I'm trying to switch the milk in my mouth because I tried water first, and the water ain't work. So then I tried the milk, and the milk ain't work. And I'm just in pain. And that's the day that I learned not to partake in Scotch bonnet. So then, like 2 weeks ago, we went to go shoot a video with her, and she made banan, and she had the pick leaves that go on top of the banan. And so I'm looking at the pick leaves, and I just eat them all at once. Boom. Because I'm thinking it looks like Jamaican cabbage, how they be having like the yeah, it looks like Jamaican cabbage. So I'm thinking it's cabbage. I ain't know the entire thing was onions and peppers. And so I
Yeah.
bit into it and had 30 seconds of burning in my mouth, and then I realized it's supposed to go on top of the bun. So then I put it on. And once I put the pickles on top of the bun, it was cool.
Word. Yeah, okay. Okay. Like the bunning and all that, you know. Me personally, I like the soup jumu. If you ever had that, yo, that
What's
thing
that?
tastes amazing. Know what I mean, you ever had that
What's
before?
that?
Soup
Soujon?
jumu.
Soujoul.
Jumu.
Soujonou.
Soup jumu.
Soup joumou.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now the history behind that is when okay, because we drink that joint, we eat it on like the in the New Year's because it's a okay back then when the French was over the Haitians before they had their freedom, the French used to eat this joint Zumu, know what I mean? And if you would eat that, it's a form of high class or whatever. Fast forward, we are freed, right? We freed ourselves or whatever. And then by celebrating our freedom on the New Year's, we would eat the subjumu. And that's a representation of our, freedom. Know what I mean?
That's so dope. And it's dope you know the history behind the food as well.
Word up. I'm a Zoe, man. I'm supposed to know this stuff, man. You know what I mean? Have you ever have you ever had thoughts about traveling to Haiti, man?
Too. There's an art called Tire Machette, which is the Avril family practices it. And also another style called Esgrima Colombiana. And there's these different machete fighting styles that exist in the Caribbean due to the
Right.
nature of like sugarcane plantations and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wanted to other in the Esgrima Colombiana is in Puerto Tejada in Colombia. And then I think they train the Tire Machette in Port-au-Prince, even though it might be in like Jacmel or something. But a lot of the people that have learned from the Avril family in Haiti are in Texas right now. There's a dude named Damon Stith who went around studying African martial arts and marched the African diaspora. And he brought them back to the Street Forge Armory in Texas and the Guild of the Silent Sword. And so when I go out to Texas in a couple months, I want to like meet with him and learn some. And there's a girl in New York, her name is Little Wolf, or a lady named Little Wolf. She's a Native American fire dancer. And she learned Haitian machete fencing because she
What?
did European fencing.
Yo,
Yeah,
that's
she did.
dope.
Oh, it's amazing, and the way that they move is really really cool. And so yeah, I want to go to Haiti to learn Tira Machette, and then also I've written a manga about like the Haitian Revolution, and I've put in like mad like cultural stuffs in there. So I had to like study Haitian history and culture for like 3 years to be able to write it. Because one of my friends from New York asked me to like make it, so I made it for her. And in that, there's a lot of that like I want to see like the Citadel, and I want to see La Bonne. Oh yeah, La Bonnet. La Bonnet is the mountain, like La Bonnet l'Evêque, the mountain that the Citadel is on, and
Right.
then the waterfall. I forget what the Sodo. There we are, the Sodo. I want to see like the Sodo and stuff. So there's like stuff that I want to see there. And it would be, and I've been studying on like how to get there and stuff. And one of my friends actually just came back like last month, so like she went there for like 5 days because she knows a girl there whose father runs a security company. So she went out there and they were like cool out there and stuff.
Yo, that's dope. It's funny that you said the mountains of Haiti because there's a master machete dude that lives up there,
That's
and
him.
okay, so okay, you familiar with him? Yeah, so everybody go out there meet up with him just to learn how to use a
Nice.
machete and all that, how to fight with the machete. That's crazy, man. Yo, that's
Yes,
dope.
indeed.
All right, now got another question for you. You ready?
Go for it.
All right. Now, which which hold on. All right, now, yo, what's your thoughts on Minister Farrakhan being banned from YouTube? Like, what's your
He
feelings on
better
that?
be banned from YouTube. He got his own sustainable community of people. He don't need YouTube. This man got the final call. He got the whole like email list of the whole nation. He got a constant streams of income from all of the different, not only mosques but also businesses that exist in his community. Like that organization has one of the few African American organizations that have retained their independence and sustainability for decades. And if they don't use that network to be independent, if they're relying on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or any other outside means, then they're not taking advantage of the fact that they already have sustainability. And oftentimes, instead of trying to grow up, we have to do a better job of growing down and building our roots deeper so that we can stand more firm in what we profess to believe in or who we profess to be a part of.
That's a good answer, man. Wow. Um, yeah, he's definitely like his name is so big that he really doesn't need a platform like YouTube. Like the word of mouth is gonna handle it on its own. I mean, and he's been around for so long that his name ring bells, man. Like if he does an event, he don't really need to promote it. It's word of mouth is gonna get. I mean, obviously he's gonna get the promotion or whatever. He'll probably promote it, put it out there, whatever. But like that's not even needed because that's how popular and powerful his branding of his name is. I mean, that's a real good answer, kid. Yo, you're a smart young man. Of course, because you're Zoe. You know what I mean? Now, I got another question for you. Did you see Marvel's Legends of the Ten Rings? Shang
Yes,
what are your thoughts on that film?
it was a really good movie. The martial arts was really good. They allowed the martial arts to shine, and it brought notice to an archetype, a cultural archetype, and a story that's being told more as the Asian American diaspora starts to grow and their culture starts to develop. And when I was younger, I watched Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior a lot because it had Kung Fu in it and it had Jet Li in it and it was on Disney Channel. It had London Tipton from Zack and Cody in it. And then I watched American Dragon Jake Long because there was Kung Fu in it and it had the voice of Robin and Prince Zuko. And what I found was that the experience that Asian Americans professed was having a dual cultural identity of being natively where their parents were from, but having a conflict between their American identity and their national identity. And we've seen a resurgence of those stories being told and stuff like Crazy Rich Asians and The Legend of the Ten Rings and Everything Everywhere All at Once, where the consensus from Asian Americans is that there's this conflict in identities and the expression is still being figured out because they ain't been around for that long, but it's going to be figured out. And there's a movie called Twisting Tiger, which was
Mhm.
directed by Joseph Lee. It has Terrell Bullock in it. It has Brandon Lee in it, and it's made the dude that did some of the videography in the Ten Rings is the person that directed Twisting Tiger. He also directed a thing called Afro Samurai Champloo, which is like Afro Samurai and then
Hold
different
on,
things.
hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
Yo, I didn't grow up watching it, but because I was kind of like an adult already at this time when Samurai Shampoo came out. Yo, that
yeah.
show was real good, man. Like, yo, the the choreography and all that looks just as good as Avatar the Airbender. Know what I mean?
I loved it, and it comes from Japan, whereas Avatar came from America. And in America, when they decide to give you a budget, you get to do a whole bunch of craziness. But in Japan, even when they do have the budget, they generally don't use it all on the motion. They generally use it on like effects or voice acting or whatever or music. But that was one of the rare cases where like a TV anime had really really good action choreography, and it shows. And the cool thing about that is that they made a live action of the Afro Samurai. They made a live action of the Samurai Champloo, and they had Afro Samurai versus the main dude from Samurai Champloo in that live action, and it's a dude named Avatar Kodo on Instagram, and then definitely not Robin on Instagram. They were the two stars of it, and they had
Right.
like crazy choreography and stuff. This man, Avatar Koda, not only can he now do double B twist, this man ran 10 feet up a tree, stood there in the air for 3 seconds, and then came down from the tree. That man is ridiculous, and I hope to see him do more cool stuff in the future.
Word out. Damn. Now it's funny that you talked about the Asian culture. Now, Netflix, they have put out the show called the Iron Fist, and Danny Rand was played by a white Caucasian male. Now, the Asian community was kind of upset that they chose a white man to play that role. Like, yo, what are your feelings on that? Like, do you think that they should have used the Asian guy
No,
for the
that's
show?
stupid. Danny Rand is a white protagonist, and the whole point of his existence is that Danny Rand was trained in Kunlun, and he wasn't supposed to become the Iron Fist, but he became the Iron Fist, and because he did, the people at Kunlun don't like him, but he has to protect Kunlun anyway. And even though he's not from there and he has no real cultural identity, it's his role to be the Iron Fist, so he has to protect the people. What these idiots at freaking Netflix did, they hired someone that doesn't know martial arts to play one of the greatest martial artists in the Marvel universe. And then
Yeah.
these idiots took the Marvel show about martial arts and put a whole bunch of stupid business stuff on top of it. And then on top of putting a whole bunch of stupid business stuff on top of it, they tried to put it into the freaking Daredevil universe. And the problem with that is that the Daredevil universe is so deep that if you're not going to go into the mythology of the Hand and who Elektra is and why all that stuff is important, you have filler. And that's what all
Yo.
of Iron Fist ended up being, was filler. However, on the point of Asians wanting representation and stuff, they have countries that have entire Hong Kong and Japanese and Korean film markets where all this cool action is being made. Now, if Asian Americans want representation, it exists as well, and they can fund it. It gets funded constantly. There's a whole bunch of people making a whole. Joseph Lee has made 4 movies in the time that I have known of his existence. There is no lack of Asian representation, but what there is a lack of is acceptance of Asians as the standard for cool. And oftentimes that's what's being fought for in their community. And I've honestly always thought that Asians were cool because I grew up watching kung fu movies. But there are certain cultural and societal barriers that do exist, even within the model minority myth. And as that's not a life experience that I've had, I can't speak to the experiences of other people. But what I can say is that if you want to be seen as cool, go into spaces where people think you're cool. If you want to go into a space where it's a little different, then you got to be ready for a fight. And if there were no fight, there would be no gratification from overcoming that. There's a movie that's directed by an Asian dude whose name I don't remember. That's about an Asian basketball player, and Pop Smoke is in it. And that's basically the ethos
Oh
of the
yeah,
whole movie.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've never seen the film, but I've seen like the previews of it on online and stuff like that, and like commercials and stuff like that. But I mean, people told me the film was pretty good, so I've never had a chance to watch it. Because I work a lot of hours or whatever. But people tell me it's decent, so I might check it out. I will stumble upon that film to check out. You know what I mean? The film,
excellent.
whatever. Um, Now, yo, are you into MMA? Like, do you like MMA fighters? And what are your thoughts and structure of the fighting style in MMA? Like, do you think you ever get into that? Because you are you know what I mean, professional fighter to some degree. You know what I mean?
I cannot partake in the sport of MMA. However, I think MMA did a really good job of showcasing the utility of different arts and movements and martial philosophies in different ways, and that it opened up people's idea or acceptance of the strengths that different arts have. So, for example, there's a man named Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who was one of the greatest pound for pound fighters everywhere. And what Mighty Mouse would do that was made him so good is he's very tactical and he's really fast and he's really strong. And so he was able to use his ability to knock people out and submit them because he was a perfect all-around fighter. And they put him in the cage with this dude, Rodtang Jetmanyang. And Rodtang is a legendary Muay Thai fighter. This man be letting people punch him in the face. He be like knocking people out with his hands. This man is freaking different. So Rodtang, who's going ham in 1FC as a Muay Thai fighter, gets in the ring with one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, in Demetrius Johnson. And the rules are set up where the first round is Muay Thai and the second round is MMA. And the reason that it's MMA is because it allows you to take people down and do submissions and stuff. So the first round, Rodtang is just hammering Demetrius, and he's going in with the freaking Muay Thai. And then in the second round, Rodtang backs up, and Rodtang never backs up. But the reason Rodtang backs up is because now he knows that Demetrius Johnson can grab him and can take him down. And so Demetrius Johnson gets inside, and after he gets inside, he takes him down. After he takes him down, he taps him out.
Okay, so okay, pretty knowledgeable about MMA. You know, one of my favorite MMA fighters is Jake Shields. Man, like he's like a pro with the grappling and the Brazilian jiu-jitsu joint. You know what I mean? I think Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighting style is very effective. Like, yo, if you ever bump into somebody that knows some of that, you run because you're gonna get embarrassed.
Yes,
once you
jiu-jitsu does a
lock
great
up
job
with
of
them, man,
pressure
it's a
testing.
wrap. Huh?
It does a great job of pressure testing with minimal injury. It allows you to go at 80 to 90% with very little chance of significantly hurting your partner. Whereas striking, you can't often do that.
Right. Right. Unless you got a nice right hook or you got a heavy hand. You know,
Right.
who's with heavy hands, they could, you know what I mean, put anybody to sleep with ease, you know? Yo, are you knowledgeable about the Avatar Last Airbender? And if so, like
Yes.
what's your favorite season?
Favorite season is season 3. It had the most context. The Boiling Rock is my favorite episode. I also really
Why
like
is
the
that?
episode where because the Boiling Rock gets into Sokka becoming a leader and Sokka recognizing that the Sokka that tells jokes is the same Sokka that's a brilliant tactician. And it
Right.
showcases the genius of Sokka where they escape because he's on the boat, and I mean he turns the inside of the ventilation thing into a boat by like knocking it
Right,
over the
right.
water. Then they're gonna swim over the thing, but because homie kicks them out, homie ends up trying to paddle his way across the river by himself, and because he
He
hits his
burned his
hand on the
hand and
thing,
started
he
screaming.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes. So like it just how tactically genius Sokka is. And then there's the whole Bossing. Well, that's season 2. Season 2 was the Bossing City Stories episode, which is another
Oh,
one of
hold
my
on, yo,
favorites.
before you talk about boxing say, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let's finish on our soccer. Let's expound on this a little bit more. Yo, when the warden pulled homeboy back in, he was like, yo, there's no way you did that shit on your own. Somebody had to help you out, put your shit together. And I thought he was for the start singing and drop a dime on soccer, but he didn't, man. He kept his mouth shut, man. You know what I mean? I thought that was dope, man. And how
It was.
Zuko's sister came in, trying to stop them from escaping from the second, because the second time they tried to do it, they had to get the riot popping off. And when the riot popped off, that's when they want to make the escape plan and hop on that what's that joint called with the cables, and you got the
Yeah, the
little
cable car.
cable car. You know what I mean? And they fight on the top of the cable. That was classic. Classic. Word up. Like my favorite character within that show would be Zuko's uncle. What's his name, man?
Iroh.
Ira. Yeah, I mean, because he was rolling with the White Lotus and all that. Know what I mean? Now you was about to talk about boxing say. So to expound on that real quick.
Yeah, the Bossing Say City stories, like Avatar is geniusly written, and the Bossing Say City stories go into why each character is at their core. So like with Aang, you get to see how he doesn't have Appa anymore, and he really misses Appa, and so he like makes the zoo outside, and he gets all of the animals to come out into the zoo that he made by himself because he misses Appa so much, and it shows that even though he really misses Appa, he also wants to see like other animals do well. So he creates the environment where they can do well, and then you have like Katara and Toph going and having their experience with the makeup and stuff, and how they like bond and stuff. And then you have Sokka, where he's just naturally good at haiku, and he's like spitting haiku to the haiku master. And then
Right.
you have Iroh, and he's like lamenting the loss of his son. So he goes around doing good deeds for everybody,
Yeah.
even the person that wanted to like stab him up at first, and then he flips dude off, like he flips dude on his head, and then picks him up and like shows him how to properly carry himself, and gives him some motivation. After an entire day of being like a light to the world, he goes under the tree, and he serenades his son's grave on like his birthday. Like it's every piece of that shows a different side of a character, and ultimately why they do what they do. Because Iroh used to be like this crazy general that was running around burning everything down, and then after his son got killed, and after he had the experience with the dragons, that's what made him turn down and become a more
More,
peace
more
agent for peace.
Yeah, he had humanity. That's when he developed humanity, and that's why he didn't kill the last two dragons that was left with that Indian tribe. Yo, you know your stuff, young man. Yo, but yo, Zuko storyline, I like his backstory because he had a conflict between good and evil within him. I mean, like and I think that stems from his own father banishing him from the Five Lord Kingdom. I mean, so he's out in the wilderness trying to find his path because yo, his whole main agenda was to capture the Avatar and bring it back so he could get his honor restored back with the Fire Lord, which is his father. But it's funny how Destiny didn't allow that to happen. Like he was meant to teach Aang how to fire bend. Know what I mean? And I thought that was real dope because Aang, he mastered all the other elements, water, wind, and what was the other joint?
Fire, water,
Water,
earth,
wind.
and fire.
Okay, yeah. There's 4 elements though. That's just 3. But
Water,
anyway,
earth, fire.
right. Anyway, with him not knowing how to fire bend, because he ended up hurting Katara by accident, which made him divest from learning how to use his fire bending ability. Know what I mean? So he just never worked on it. But fast forward, like at towards like the end, like Zuko was meant to teach this dude how to firebend, and that's when they linked up, went to that Indian tribe, and because at the time Zuko lost his ways on how to conjure up fire and bending it. I mean, because his rage and hate was fueling that. But because he ended up being cool with Aang and he was more peaceful, he had to figure out another way how to I guess restore his energy to be able to conjure up more fire and bending it. And he got that from the last 2 dragons, the ultimate fire benders, which was the last 2 dragons. I thought that was real interesting to see that from season to season. I mean, obviously, I'm giving you the matchup, everything. I mean, subtotal, whatever. But yeah, I thought that was dope. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Did you ever? Huh?
It's one of the most well executed shows in history.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just everything was just lined up perfectly, from even on a cultural aspect, from like the water tribe, they all live in igloos out in the cold. But I mean, the earthbenders, they're more like rocks, and they start like you could tell the distinct between the differences, compare and contrast between like earthbenders and water tribes and stuff like that because it can like they were able to express themselves from a cultural aspect of things. I mean, like yo, I thought that was dope, man. You know, like the Fire Nation, like they're more upscale, prestige. You know, caked out. You know, style. You know what I mean? Like rich style status type joint. You know what I mean? Like you could see the difference, and I thought that was dope, and they executed that real good too. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Word out. Now this will probably be my last question for you and wrap this thing up. Know what I mean, yo, if you were to star in a big film, right? Like, which martial artist would you choose to be your co-star for that film, and why?
I would probably choose my friend Running Fist Ronin, Sequence Henry, because he's studied martial arts for a very long time, and he has an eye for action, and he has a creativity in his implementation of movement that allows him to get really cool combos. From studying so much stuff, my creativity is limited at times, and I can't always see the options that reveal themselves. So the stuff like Tony Jaa doing a backflip off of a pane of glass, and then a motorcycle crashing through the pane of glass, or Tony Jaa doing a backflip off of an elephant's head to kick somebody in the face, or in the raid where homie picked homie's head up and then slammed it down onto the broken piece of door. I wouldn't ever think of that. And see Running Fist Ronin, his eye for fatalities is always there. So it would be really cool to like see what he has in mind creatively for like action set pieces. Now for telling stories and stuff, I can figure that out. But in terms of like implementing movement and figuring out creative ways to express the idea of martial arts, she would be like the best person I can think of for someone that could do that.
Word. Good answer, man. Yo, thank you for coming through, blessing us with your presence. Yo, I think you're an amazing actor, amazing martial artist. You know what I mean? And yo, man, yo, keep in touch, man. You know, we'll link up, politic. Who knows, man? Maybe we could travel to go to Haiti, man. I learn how to do the machete joint with you. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Yo,
I'm
salute to you,
definitely
young
with
king,
it.
man. Thanks for coming through.
Blessings.
Word out. All right, man. It's your boy Russ. Interview is over, man. Thank y'all for coming through, checking this out. You know what I mean? Yo, seek wisdom, practice humility, and remain sucker free. You heard? I'm out.